Take a moment and picture this. If you walked through Times Square and stared at the U.S. debt clock or checked the Treasury's official numbers, you'd see a figure that's almost impossible to comprehend. Right now, the national debt is over $35 trillion, racing toward $38 trillion. To give that scale, if you stacked $1 bills to reach that number, the pile wouldn't just touch the moon, it would stretch far beyond it. For decades, politicians and economists treated this like a game score. It's manageable, they said. We owe it to ourselves. Growth will handle it. But in 2024, reality hit differently. Debt is no longer a number. It's a predator. Here's the shocking part. For the first time ever, the U.S. government spends more on interest payments than on national defense, more on debt than on Medicaid. Interest alone is approaching $1 trillion annually. This is what's called the debt spiral. A family drowning in credit cards might cut back, cancel subscriptions, tighten spending. But the U.S. government isn't a household. A massive portion of spending, Social Security, Medicare, is mandatory. These are promises you cannot just break. So, to pay old debt interest, the government borrows even more. It's borrowing from new credit cards to pay off old ones. The total debt grows, interest grows, borrowing grows, a feedback loop that accelerates faster than anyone notices. So what are the options? Austerity, massive tax hikes and severe spending cuts, doubling income taxes, cutting Social Security, abolishing the military? Politically impossible. Try that and politicians vanish. The economy would tank instantly. Default, refuse to pay, like Argentina or Russia. For the U.S., this is catastrophic. Global finance relies on U.S. treasuries as risk-free. A default would collapse banking systems worldwide. Trade freezes, credit cards stop, a financial apocalypse. Off the table. Soft default, the historical solution of empires. Pay back the debt in currency that is worth less than when borrowed. Print the difference. Inflation eats away at the real value of debt, quietly transferring wealth from savers to the state. Let's do the math. $30 trillion in debt, 5% inflation. 1 year later, $1.5 trillion of debt vanishes in real terms without new taxes or spending cuts. Bondholders get their money, but it buys less. Today, this is called fiscal dominance. For decades, the Fed was the master, raising rates to fight inflation even if it hurt growth. Now, the Treasury is in charge. Rates can't rise enough to fight inflation without bankrupting the government. So, the Fed enables the government. Low rates, higher tolerated inflation, quietly printing money. Independence of the central bank is disappearing. The result? The $38 trillion will climb, 40 trillion, 50 trillion, and the dollar's value falls. The government bets it can inflate away the debt faster than panic sets in. Too slow, debt crushes them. Too fast, hyperinflation. They thread a razor-thin needle, moderate inflation for a decade. But at 5% inflation, the value of your savings halves in 14 years. That's the plan. How do they do it? 3 modern tools. Captive buyers. Banks, insurance companies, and pension funds are legally required to hold treasuries. This creates artificial demand at low rates. Your 401k buys government debt not because it's wise, but because it must. Manipulated inflation metrics. Social Security and tips payments are tied to the Consumer Price Index. CPI is quietly adjusted to understate real inflation, so the government pays less than it should. You see rising prices, but the official numbers say otherwise. Fiscal dominance, central bank support. When foreign buyers like China or Japan step back, the Fed steps in, printing money to buy debt. QE floods the system with cash, inflating asset prices, stocks, real estate, creating an illusion of wealth while the real value of your money drops. The pattern repeats history. Post-World War II, U.S. debt to GDP hit 119%. The Fed capped rates, inflation averaged 6%, and debt eroded without defaulting. Now it's happening again, upgraded for the modern economy. The consequences are clear. The first to get new money benefit, Wall Street, asset owners. The rest, ordinary Americans, see wages and savings devalue. This is why inequality accelerates. The middle class pays the price of the national debt through eroded purchasing power. Old saving strategies are dead. Banks, bonds, cash, they all lose value under fiscal dominance. To preserve wealth, you now must take risks. Stocks, real estate, crypto. The economy has become a forced gambling game. And the final weapon is coming: CBDCs. Central bank digital currencies remove your ability to opt out of government control. No cash escape. Negative rates, forced spending, expiry dates on your money. Already being tested elsewhere, it's the ultimate tool for controlling the money supply. The reality: the US isn't going to default outright. It will inflate, slowly, quietly, relentlessly. The winners? Owners of scarce, non-printable assets, gold, Bitcoin, real estate, businesses. The losers? Those relying on cash, savings accounts, government bonds. The American dream of saving your way to wealth is gone. We are now in the era of asset survival. History repeats itself when governments are desperate. In 1933, Roosevelt seized gold under threat of imprisonment. In the next video, we'll uncover the full story: legal loopholes, secret prosecutions, and how your Bitcoin, gold, and retirement accounts could face similar risk in a national emergency. Today, the key question: is your money really safe? Smash that like button, subscribe, and stay informed. The history of the gold ban is coming. I'll see you in the vault.